Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to this video. It is FBA Jeffrey. In this video, I wanted to talk about the truth about selling on Amazon. And as a beginner, there are several or quite a lot of questions that you would have when it comes to, getting your first product in, the margin, the business model, everything like that. So this video is designed to answer as many questions as you have. So hopefully it helps give you a better understanding on, Amazon FBA in general. So here's the truth about Amazon. So I made a few questions that I can hopefully answer to help all of you out, right? So the very first question that we're gonna talk about is how much money you need to start. And this answer to this question is quite subjective because it really depends. But personally, I would say you need minimum like $5,000 in your bank account, but that also ties into the next question on what business model you want to focus on. And the reason why the answer to how much money you need depends on the business model is because I specialize in the wholesale model in the sense where I reach out to authorized distributors for big name brands like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, things like that, super big brands, and they have authorized distributors that they work with to help distribute products into retail stores. So I reach out to those and I purchase with MOQs, which is minimum order quantities. And a lot of times they require, maybe even a pallet purchase. So yes, I do personally think starting Amazon with minimum $5,000 in your bank is a good benchmark to begin with. Granted, if you wanted to do arbitrage, you can start with less. You can start with as little as $1,000. So if you have under $5,000, I'd say do arbitrage and use that to run your money up. And in, I'd say like 2 or 3 months, once you're getting those profits, you're making a couple $1,000s a month in profit, you can roll it into switching into the wholesale model, because trust me guys, the wholesale model is superior to arbitrage. And I've done both. I started with less than $1,000 2 years ago on Amazon, and I've scaled over $1 million just off arbitrage. And now I'm full-time wholesale, and it's just a lot better. A lot of the headaches that you face in arbitrage, that doesn't exist in the wholesale model. So I'd say start with that. I guess the other thing is it's good to have $5,000 in liquid cash ready to be used on Amazon to invest into your Amazon FBA business. But you can use different things such as leveraging credit cards, line of credits, or asking your friends for maybe even like a 2 months or 3 month loan. Things like that work. Because I've done those type of things in the past, and it really helps scale. As long as you're serious about this business model and you're really serious about learning, you will be able to make profit within your first month, right? So optimized business model, like I said, it really depends. If you don't have too much money to your name and you just want to test out Amazon, I'd say start arbitrage. Arbitrage is a great model, very beginner friendly. But if you have more money, like $5,000 or more, and you're really looking to create, I guess, side income money, or even potentially replace your 9 to 5 and have a more sustainable business model, then yeah, wholesale is the way to go, because you just need 1 or 2 authorized distributors to work with where you could purchase consistently, and that should be more than enough to replace the amount of money that you're making in your 9 to 5 job. You can easily get to 10K a month profit off wholesale. Especially if you work and you have the right guidance, you're working with a mentor who can guide you on that. Yeah, it's very, very doable. So I guess the next point in regards to the business models would be understanding the product life cycle. So every item that you sell, there is a cycle, in the sense where the product will be very, very profitable until a lot of people find it. And then naturally, the more supply there is, the more sellers there are on a specific listing, the lower the price will go, because, suddenly the price will tank. If that makes sense, right? That's economics, supply and demand. So if there's a lot of supply, then demand will go down, right? As in like the price will go down. So for example, like this Nivea lip balm, it could be very profitable for 6 months, and then after a certain point, the product will no longer be as profitable because every other seller will also be on it. And that's just the nature of selling on Amazon. So you really want to understand the product lifecycle. When it comes to arbitrage, The product lifecycle is typically shorter just because these items are more accessible, they're easier to find. There's specific retail stores like Target that everyone sources through, so you want to be more careful of that. So the product lifecycle on arbitrage products, I'd say, will probably be, it could range from 2 weeks all the way to maybe like 3-4 months. But with wholesale, the product lifecycle is typically a lot longer, a lot more sustainable, in the sense where you can sell products for years. Have sold the same item for 2 years. My very first distributor that I worked with, there's several products that I purchased back then I still purchase today, just in much larger volumes. If anything, the margin on those went up. So yeah, like there's products that you can sell profitably for years. For me, 2 years. So, which is why I love the wholesale model, because you can just continuously stack more and more profitable items and just continuously replenish, which is why it's so easy to scale, right? And when I mean scale, let me just pull up my Amazon account so you guys see it. It's not really loading right now, actually. So for today, okay, in the last 30 days, I've done $480,000 in rev, right? And today we're at about 6.5K USD. It's only about 2 p.m. So yeah, so that's basically wholesale, is because I'm just stacking profitable products over and over again. And the life cycle on these items are so long, like they're months to even years, that it's so easy to grow. So wholesale really is the way if you have enough capital for it, right? So the next question is what to look for when sourcing. And this really applies to arbitrage and wholesale. And a lot of it is mindset. And, you know, obviously, I'm sure you guys understand, if you search on YouTube how to source on Amazon, you're probably going to find hundreds of videos with, 10 different sourcing strategies. And I'm here to tell you that all the sourcing strategies work. Obviously, at the end of the day, you're just trying to find profitable products, and that's what you're looking for. And I would just really recommend sticking to one strategy for a prolonged period for, couple weeks, for 2-3 weeks. Just keep using that method, because every strategy has its own quirks and different ways, different advantages that you can gain when it comes to sourcing. So as long as you pick one and you stick to it for a couple weeks and you get really, really good at it, you will find profitable items. But it really depends on what your goals when it comes to sourcing as a mindset thing. What are your goals when it comes to starting Amazon? That's what I mean. A lot of people, they want to make $3,000 to $5,000 on the side, like as a side hustle while working their 9-to-5 job. And this is a very, very possible business model. You could do that. A few of my friends, I've helped them start Amazon. I've taught them the fundamentals, and now they're averaging about $3,000 to $5,000 in profit while working their 9-to-5 job. And it's pretty passive, right? Like they probably spend like 2 hours a week just managing, repricing, making sure that the items stay in stock. So that's their goals. But typically, if you want to go further, like if you want to make 10 grand a month in profit, that's also very, very possible. I've also had students who've scaled to 10,000 in less than 90 days in pure profit. And Amazon really is the way. I'm another example. Obviously, I'm way past the 10,000 a month in profit, but yeah, like Amazon could pay the bills, and you could definitely generate wealth using this business vehicle. So it really depends on your goals. If you're more serious about Amazon, you want to make this a full-time thing, then yeah, all you want to do is focus on sourcing, because at the end of the day with Amazon, it's a very simple business model. There isn't a lot of moving parts. The only way you're really going to make money is by sourcing, right? Whether it be sourcing through retail stores or reaching out to distributors, everything's a volume game. So if you're very serious, just spam the outreach, spam the product sourcing, and you will eventually find lots of profitable products. And don't get shiny object syndrome. So don't switch sourcing strategies. Don't switch outreach strategies every single day. Just stick to one and keep going at it for a prolonged period. So this business model really is good for if you're trying to do passive income, make 3 to 5K, or if you're really trying to build wealth and go full time. So that's really the sourcing mindset. I just say pick one strategy and pick one specific category or niche. So if you want to do beauty or if you want to do grocery, just stick to that for several weeks and stick to one specific sourcing method. I personally recommend sticking to the manual sourcing because that is the most effective and it helps you build the skill set of product sourcing. Because once you learn how to find products, how to find distributors very, very well, it's easy. Like making money should be very, very easy. It should not be the problem. So that should be your mindset. It will be a little bit difficult in the beginning, but don't give up because all great things take time. You can't expect to be instantly good. You can't expect to be good doing it after for like 5-6 hours. So just keep going at it, stay consistent, show up every single day and don't give up. And you will find a lot of success when it comes to selling on Amazon. So the next topic that I wanted to cover would be sales, right? So sales is a major thing. For me, I'm doing around $480,000 a month in the last 30 days in sales. And that's amazing, right? But the main question is, how much do you have to spend in profitable inventory to get to $480,000? So typically on Amazon, it's about 50% in the sense where if I'm doing around $480,000 in sales, that means I spent close to $240K in inventory. I believe it's about like slightly less, like it's probably like $230,000, $220 to $230,000 to help me average 480. But yeah, it's typically around 50%. So if you want to get to 10K in sales, then you're going to have to spend $5,000. If you want to get to $50,000 in sales, you're going to have to spend $25,000. So that's basically the logic. It's not super hard to understand, right? And how soon will I see sales? So typically, I always tell my students that everything that you're doing right now, you will see the results. You'll see the fruits of your labor in about 2 to 3 weeks. So if you put in the work right now and you're sourcing, you're finding these items, you're buying these items, you're shipping it out, you typically start getting those sales in about 2 to 3 weeks time. Sometimes depending on the month, because right now it's Q4, the fulfillment centers are a little bit backed up. It might take closer to a month before you start seeing sales, but that's fine, right? As long as you work right now, you will see those sales come in within a month time. That should not be the problem. At the end of the day, you really want to focus on inventory turnover in the sense where you just want to make sure your items sell. It doesn't matter how profitable it is, as long as you're finding products that you can sell out within the month, within a rolling 30 days, you should have no problem recouping your money, recouping your capital. Ideally, you make some money on it and then roll it into the next item. And that's how you really scale on Amazon. So just show up right now and you will see the results relatively quickly, because all things considered, 2 to 3 weeks is not hard. And if you, like I said, if you have the right mentor, if you have the right guidance and you find profitable items off the bat, you will make money in 3 weeks since starting the business, right? Like what other business model will you be profitable in 3 weeks? There's none. Dropshipping, you're going to have to spend a lot of time. You're going to have to buy inventory or buy products or spend money on ads. So it just takes a lot of time. So Amazon truly is a business model where you can make money within your first month. So yeah, just focus on sourcing products and making sure they sell, and everything will come after. The next question to talk about would be profit. So typically with profit, on the 480, obviously the margin really depends, but I go for 20%. That's what I like to go for. Somewhere between 15% and 25%. That's the short answer. When you're starting off, your profit margin will be a lot higher. It should honestly be 30%. It should honestly be 30% if you're doing under 50K a month in sales, just because, your expenses are so low. You're only paying for like Keepa, you're paying for like Seller Amp, maybe you're paying like for a VA to help you outsource your work. But overall, your expenses are so low to a point where your margin is high. And, if you don't have a lot of capital starting off, you want to focus on products that either are high ticket, so they're $50 or more, or they're giving you a really, really big return on your investment. So we're going to talk about that next. But if you don't have a lot of money, focus on buying products that are high ticket, that sell over 100 times a month over 100 times in 30 days. So about 3 times a day. So focus on that. And focus on a high return on investment. So you can find products that are giving you 40%, 50% ROI. So do that. If you have a little bit more money, so $10,000 or more, just focus on buying more volume. Focus on buying items that can net you 30%. And typically that'll go down to around 20%, if that makes sense. But for a business, for Amazon business at my scale, my margins are around 20%. It really depends on a month. Yeah, let's just say it like that. It depends. It fluctuates between 15 and 20% just because I have a lot of bills to pay. I have warehouse rent to pay. I have employees that help me, prep these units. I have VAs, I have softwares. I have a lot of bills to pay. So, the expenses are definitely higher, hence why the margin goes down. But as a new beginner, you want to go for something, you want to go between 20 and 30% profit margin. And what do you do with your profits? I guess that really ties into managing cash flow, because when you're starting out, you want to reinvest profits. So for me, when I was starting off, I did not take any money out. I did not buy anything with any of my profits for, I'd say, like half a year. Obviously, there are times where, I spent some money on food, some money I bought like a nice t-shirt here and there, but I didn't go out of my way to buy designer. I didn't do all of that. I didn't do anything too crazy within my first 6 months. I just kept rolling in those profits, and then into more inventory, and it just snowballed, because you guys cannot underestimate how quick it is and how quick you guys can scale. If you are really serious about growing and you're sourcing every day and you're reinvesting your profits every day, as in you're getting reimbursements, so you're clicking the request disbursements button on Amazon, you should grow very, very quick. That $5,000 that you're starting with, that could grow to, it'll grow very quickly. You should have no problem growing that to like 20 grand, maybe even 30, 40 grand within 90 days. That's how quick it'll grow. So with ROI, the minimum benchmark when I am sourcing is to go for items at 30% ROI. But that's just because I have a lot more cash, and I guess I have the luxury of buying more volume. But if you have less capital or less working capital, I would honestly suggest go for items that are 50% or more ROI. Those are not super, super common, but if you look hard enough, you could probably find a few every single day. I found products at 60% ROI, 80% ROI, 100% ROI, even 200% ROI. And those are products that, like, they're not that hard to find. If you know how to source and you're sourcing every day, you will come across them. So if you're on the lower capital side, if you have less working capital, then go for those items. So that will typically help you with your profit margins. So like I have students where they were only finding products at 50% ROI or more, and they were doing like 10K in sales, and they were doing like 4 or 5 grand a month in profit because their ROI and their sourcing criteria was so high. But like I said, if you have more capital, then just go for 30% ROI. You will probably average between 15 to 25% profit margins if you do that. So that's the benchmark to go for. And at the end of the day, when it comes to buying products and product sourcing, data is your number one thing that you want to look at, right? Don't purchase based off emotions, only purchase on historical data. So master looking at the Keepa charts, because every single product that you're looking at on the Amazon listing, that's the current snapshot. And there's no way to tell the future. There's no way to determine what the price will be like in 5 minutes from now, in 2 months from now, in 5 months from now. And the only way you could determine that is by looking at historical data. So look at what the current price was over the last 14 days, over the last 30 days, over the last 60 days, 90 days, and half a year. Because if you're looking at a Keepa chart and the price is very consistent in the sense where it hovers between, say, $17 and $19 over the last 6 months, you can make an accurate or a strong prediction that the price will probably hover between $17 and $19 going forward. But if you're looking at a listing where it goes from $25, drops to $10, and it goes back up to like $20 all within 3 months or even a 1 month time, it becomes very hard to predict what the price will be like. So always make your judgments based off historical data. don't force yourself to buy something just for the sake of buying, because that's how you lose money. Only buy if you know it's profitable. And how would you know it's profitable? What I typically like to do is I like to go on the Keepa chart, go on the 30-day timeline and the 3-month timeline, the 90-day timeline, and find the lowest price points on that graph. And then go and plug it into your Seller Amp or AZ Insights, and it will show you what the cost will be after like all the fees, everything like that, at that lowest point. And if you're still profitable by then yeah, you could go buy the product, right? Obviously, then you look at if there's IP complaints, if the product sells fast enough, like what the BSR is. But typically, find the lowest point in the Keepa graph and plug that in. And if you're profitable, then you should not have a problem with buying it. And the thought process behind that is, historically, if that's the lowest price on the Keepa chart, that means you will likely not have any prices go below that point. If that makes sense, right? Sorry, I'm kind of wording it kind of poorly, but you just want to look at historical data and use that to make good purchasing decisions. So yeah, just make purchasing decisions based on data. Don't do it off emotion. Don't buy it for the sake of buying. I cannot emphasize that enough. That's a common problem. I had that problem before. A few of my students also made that mistake before. And if there's nothing to buy, just don't buy it, because there's always going to be a deal the next day, the next week. And if your intent is to really make money and to purchase profitable items, you will find profitable products eventually. So just don't force buying anything. So the next point, or the next question, or the next topic that I want to talk about would be scaling with leverage, right? And I understand most people, they don't have too much money sitting in their bank account. I would assume like a good amount to have is between $5,000 to $15,000 ready to use. And that's a very good amount when it comes to starting Amazon, especially starting wholesale. But a lot of people also have less than $5,000. So if you're really under that point, I would say do arbitrage to run up your money, get to $5,000 or more, and then consider wholesale. But also, a good way to scale and really grow on Amazon is to use credit cards. And this is not financial advice, by the way, but essentially, you don't want to over leverage yourself. So you don't want to spend like 10 grand on your credit card when you have $2,000 in your bank account, because that's how you screw yourself over. But spend accordingly, right? You can open up credit cards. American Express is very, very, very good. They're very lenient. The payback dates are also relatively long in comparison to other banks, and their cashback is pretty good. So you could use credit cards, open up American Express, or open up a business credit card and use that from there, because you get cashback. It's great. When I was growing on Amazon, when I first started, I utilized a lot of credit cards, but I was smart enough to not be over leveraged. So use it to help you grow, but ensure that you could pay everything back, and you don't end up paying and tacking on credit card interest, because that's not what you want to do. Another thing that you could do when you're leveraging and scaling is to outsource your work. About, I'd say 90% to 95% of all total Amazon work could be outsourced. So if you get good enough at product sourcing, you can outsource that to a VA. I do not recommend hiring a VA to source for you off the bat, because a lot of them, their talent is raw, if that makes sense. And you're going to have to coach them through and guide them through the whole process on becoming very good at product sourcing. So the only way you could do that is by becoming good at product sourcing yourself. So you understand what they're doing and you could teach them, or if they have any questions, you can answer it. The last thing you want to do is to hire someone to do a task that you don't know how to do yourself, or you have zero experience doing. That's just asking for failure. So once you get to that point, you do sourcing for a couple months, or you do outreach for a couple months, and you get decent at that, where you're making profitable, you're profitable, and you're making money on Amazon. You can outsource that. You can hire a VA on onlinejobs.ph for $4 an hour, and have the outsource it and have all of that outsourced. You can also look into 3PLs. So eventually, once you get big enough, you can start looking at prep centers where you buy all your products from a distributor and you ship it to their warehouse location and you pay them like 50 cents a unit and they prep it for you. So you never see a product and you don't deal with packing, shipping, anything like that. And that honestly saves you so much time. So you could look into that route, or you could look into going more hands-on and hiring a friend, a family friend, paying them like minimum wage or something and have them prep products for you. Or if you get big enough, you grow, you scale large enough, you get a warehouse like what I'm doing right now and have a whole team just packing. So I personally, I don't touch products myself, as I have 4 full-time packers prepping all my products. And so I send 49,000 units a month. That's how much we're going to send this month. And I haven't touched a single one. But obviously, Prep Center is also a very, very good route. And if, like essentially, at the end of the day, the only thing your goal is to do is to free up your time. And that kind of ties back to like your goals, right? Like what are your goals when it comes to starting Amazon? Obviously, for me, my goal was to turn as rich as possible, and I'm still in that process of scaling on Amazon because I want to eventually do $1 million a month, right? So that's what I'm doing. But I'm freeing up my time so that I can make more business decisions. So like CEO decisions. So decisions such as getting more cash, the direction that I want my business to head towards. So those are decisions that I think about on a consistent basis. And if I was packing or if I was sourcing every single day, I would not have time to do that. It would not be possible because we only all have 24 hours a day. So that's my goal. But if your goal is to make $3 to $5 grand of profit in a month, once you get to this point in your outsourcing, you will have so much time. You will be able to focus on your 9 to 5, because at the end of the day, if that's your goal, just focus on that. And you should be able to have a lot of time on the side while making $3 to $5 grand in profit. So it really depends on your goals, like what you want to do. But like I said, Amazon is that vehicle. It could definitely get you there. So just use leverage in the right way to help achieve your own goals when it comes to starting on Amazon. And we're talking about like a 3-month timeline. You can probably achieve all of this between 3 to 6 months. Yeah. In a more realistic answer, 3 to 6 months. Yeah. So going on to the next point, what is your time frame for success? Typically, when it comes to starting on Amazon, the first month is the most stressful because you're getting your business account set up, your EIN, your taxes, everything like that, your business bank account, and you're just learning the most, like a lot, right? And you're not really familiar with all the Amazon terms, everything like that. So the first month, that's how you get everything set up. Ideally, you should be product sourcing and you already find a couple products, so you already ship that in and you're making some profits. So that's very possible. But within 90 days of starting Amazon, you should have no problem making several $1,000s a month. Like I said, if your goal is to make $3 to $5 grand a month in profit, you could get that in 3 months. Obviously, this is the timeline under the assumption that you have the right guidance. You're working with a mentor who understands and can teach you everything that you need to know and build you a solid foundation. If you're doing this by yourself, it might take, or it definitely will take a lot more time, and you will probably make some costly mistakes. But at the end of the day, if you keep going, you will be profitable. But in 3 months, if you're working with the right mentor, you should be making several $1,000s a month, between 3 to 5K. And I've had a student who've done 10K a month in profit, but he was really, really serious, and he was serious since the first day. But if you're really serious, you could do 10K a month in 3 months. I did that myself. So everything I'm talking about, like I said, is from personal experience. From 6 months, within 6 months of starting, or half a year, you should honestly have no problem touching 10K a month in profits. If you're consistently reinvesting your profits and you're looking to source every day, you're looking to grow, and you think you're taking Amazon way more seriously, yeah, you should be able to hit 10K a month in profit. If you hit 3 to 5K, and that's like your sweet spot, that's the spot that you're happy with, you should have no problem maintaining that. You're probably outsource your work, so you have a VA working for you. You probably have a prep center who's prepping for you, and business should be going well. At 6 months, you're beginning to gain a lot more experience, like business experience, when it comes to selling on Amazon, because I like to say you will never be super well versed with Amazon if you haven't sold for a year. And the reason why I say that is because within the year, there's 2 Prime days, there's back to school, there's Black Friday, there's Christmas, and you want to really experience all of that just to get a good understanding of demand, of how crazy sales goes, everything like that. You want to experience the high highs and the low lows, and I think within a year, you will definitely experience all of that. So with 6 months time, you definitely have a very good understanding with Amazon. You know what you're doing. You have some stuff outsourced, and you should probably be making several $1,000s, if not 10K a month in profit. And within 1 year, this is where I'd say you are more advanced on Amazon. You understand everything. You've been through the Prime days, Black Friday, Christmas. You understand the demand, and you've made a fair share of mistakes. And now you know what to do for the next month, the next year. And now within the first year, I like to believe it's very possible, and I've done it myself, but you could easily net 100K in profit within your first year selling on Amazon. Obviously, you got to be very consistent and you got to be very serious, but it's possible. If not, you should be at least making like 30, 40 grand a month in profit. Not profit, sorry. You should have at least made 30 to 40K in that year in straight profit, which is a large chunk of money, especially if you're trying to do a side hustle, right? Most of your work should be outsourced. You have a good understanding of Amazon, and you're just looking to learn from previous mistakes. Potentially, you're looking into scaling wholesale. By this point, I strongly recommend, if you're 1 year into Amazon, all of you guys should be doing wholesale, because that's just a way more sustainable business model to do when it comes to Amazon. But yeah, after 1 year, you should definitely be on a good journey. You made enough mistakes to understand what to avoid and what to look for the next previous years. But yeah, so essentially these are just a few topics that I know when you're starting off on Amazon, these are a lot of questions that you have, and hopefully in this video I answered them. If you have any questions, feel free to follow me on Instagram, send me a DM. My DMs are always open. I can answer any questions that you have. If you're looking for guidance when it comes to starting and scaling Amazon, getting to 3 to 5K a month in profit in 90 days or less, or even if you really want to get to 10K a month in 90 days or less, I offer exclusive one-on-one mentorship where I work directly with you. You have access to me 24/7. And I sell on Amazon. So all the challenges that you face, I likely have faced and found a solution to. So that helps speed run your success and avoid a lot of costly mistakes. So if you are interested in the one-on-one mentorship, feel free to book a call with me in the link below. And if not, that's totally fine. I hope you got a lot of value in this video. Please like this video and subscribe for more. Thanks.